And welcome back. Our next guest is the son of the late Jack Felder, a civil rights activist, and joins us today for a look at his work to carry on his father's legacy. We welcome Nova Felder to the show.
Welcome. Thank you.
I heard Gary talking about Gary Bird, Imhotep Gary Bird on WBLS and WLIB, MS Broadcasting. He was talking about your father.
Yeah.
Your father just passed away?
He just passed away on the 3rd of December. Yeah.
My prayers and condolences.
Thank you.
Yeah, yes. So you're going to carry on his legacy.
Oh, most certainly, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the late Jack.
Oh, man. My dad, Jack Felder, Dr. Jack Felder, he just was, you know, I call him a tour de force. He was a Renaissance man. First by training, he was a biochemist. He worked at Natick Labs in Massachusetts for the U.S. Army in the 1960s. He worked on a lot of projects there. Then when he got out of service, he came to live in Germany. And in Germany was when he came into contact with the African world, the African diaspora. And he just made his move in 1969, 1970 to actually move to Africa and start learning more about his own personal history, his own cultural history. And he came back to the States about 75, 76, and from there, he was teaching science at Harlem Prep, right here down the road. Yeah. He was teaching at Medgar Evers for some time, taught for the Department of Education for 27 years in Brooklyn mainly. And Gary knows him from actually doing his shows all throughout the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. Gary gave my dad a beautiful platform to talk about everything from health, HIV/AIDS crisis in Africa, history, what should black people do about all of these holidays and economics, and we give a lovely shout out to Brother Gary for all the work that he did and the platform that he gave my dad. I thank him a lot.
Yeah. What were you guys talking about? Tell everybody what you guys were talking about on the radio the other day.
Oh, they were talking about just what my dad's work was about, but also about his funeral services, and hopefully Gary will be there speaking on the family's behalf and just giving a different viewpoint into my dad's life. Yeah. Basically, that's it.
And lots of achievements.
Oh, man. I mean, like I said, the guy lived in Germany. He lived in Kenya. He wrote 15 books and pamphlets on multiple subjects. One of the main ones is AIDS, is U.S. germ warfare. The next big book that he wrote was on the Statue of Liberty actually being fashioned after a black woman, and all of the history behind that. And he learned a lot of those things through his travels. So one thing that he really did for us as a family, he encouraged us to travel and have no bounds. Yeah. And he was a world traveler, you know, and we're going to continue that.
Yeah. And you mentioned something about AIDS as an American
germ warfare, right? Yeah. Because a lot of the projects he worked on were very secretive, and when AIDS became an issue early 80s, late 70s, he looked at it and he just said something is not right, that it's not really, you know, he said something is not right, so he did more investigations with some of his old contacts that were still in the government or were in private sector. And he started putting the pieces together of how that the AIDS virus is not what it seemed to be, that it was potentially made in a lab. And he started publishing articles with the Daily Challenge, with the Amsterdam News and other papers here in the city. And he actually did in '93, he actually went on an Africa tour to talk to African governments about how they're managing the AIDS crisis and what's really going on.
Yeah. That was early on.
And he was, you're talking about
so it's not from
82.
the Green Monkey.
No, it's definitely not from a Green Monkey. That's
from
propaganda.
A lab.
It's from a lab, yeah. Dr. Robert Strecker is probably one of the main people that helped to create the AIDS virus. That's facts. Everybody can check Google. We got that. It's 2017. Yeah. Information is there.
Yeah. So what are you doing to help carry on his legacy?
One thing that we do, and a lot of people, especially in the last 20 years, know my dad for, is being a book vendor in Harlem. So that's one of the things that a lot of people that are going to be at the funeral and the wake tomorrow night and Wednesday morning, they're going to know him from 125th Street. So they don't know the button-up professor or teacher that a lot of people do know, but they know the lecturer, they know the street speaker, they know the bookseller, and that's part of the work that I will continue. me and my brother sitting down talking about potentially doing a Dr. Jack Felder Foundation because he donated a lot of money. A lot of people don't know this. He donated a lot of money to, he didn't have the time, but he donated a lot of his money and earnings to like Native American schools out west, to the UNICEF, to United Negro College Fund, and to things like that. So we're thinking about where to
get what they need out of life.
yeah, one of the first donors to the African American Historical Museum. He was always about that. I was just going through his letters the other day, and I said, to my mom and my brother, I said, we have to continue this.
Yeah. So when is this services?
His services are tomorrow night, it's December 12th. They're going to be in Harlem at Williams Institutional. That's 2239 7th Avenue in the village of Harlem. That's Williams Institutional CME Church. That will be at 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And the actual funeral service, the going home ascension service is what we're calling it. It's going to be at the same location, 2239 7th Avenue, between 131st and 132nd Street. It'll be between the hours of 10 a.m. and about 12 p.m.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you. Hopefully this won't be the last time.
Is there a website where we can go to see?
You guys can, we might live stream it, and if it is, it'll be on my Facebook, and you can just find that through Nova Felder, first and last name. And you can also find me on Instagram at Harlem Ensemble. And you can check also for the live stream of the funeral, Black News 102, which is going to be on YouTube. That's a website that we might utilize.
Nova Felder.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Carrying on the legacy of an extraordinary man.
Thank you.
The late, great Jack Felder. He's truly going to be missed. And I'm sorry, my prayers and condolences go out to you and your family.
Yes.
We have to take a quick break right here, but stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Open next.